any suggestion or query or anything you want to add to what you just saw? I hope, see, I had shared those links also, video links. I hope you must have gone through those links as well. And if you, in case if you have anything which you do not follow in these videos, please feel free to share with me. We can resolve it for the benefit of the rest. Now we have around 90, 89, 90. So I'll just begin with another practical. And whatever I do till today will be the things which will be asked in your internal practical examination that is scheduled on 4th and 5th, 405 and 406. Okay. Now the 4th practical, that is how to determine total dissolved solids in the given water sample. When we talk about solids in samples, yes.
Good morning, sir. I have doubt in those back 3 practicals regarding KSP values. Like what does increases KSP value और precipitation का क्या relation उसके साथ?
मैं समझा नहीं. Can you repeat? I am not able to hear you properly. Yes, can you repeat?
Yes sir. Actually I am asking KSP values यानी solubility product के बारे में कि what precipitation ज़्यादा कब होगा अगर KSP ज़्यादा है तब, यानी relation मुझे सही से समझ नहीं आया.
Okay. अच्छा, देखो इसमें ऐसा होता है कि there is a relation between the value of KSP for any salt with its precipitation. जितना कम वैल्यू KSP की होगी उतना जल्दी से वो प्रेसिपिटेट होगा. जितना कम वैल्यू KSP की होगी उतना जल्दी वो प्रेसिपिटेट होगा, वो आयन प्रेसिपिटेट हो जाएगा. जैसे हमने मैग्नीशियम और कैल्शियम के बारे में जाना था. मैग्नीशियम का KSP is of the order of 10 to the minus 12, whereas calcium it is 10 to the power minus 6, 5 point something into 10 to the minus 6, and likewise for magnesium it was 5 point something into 10 to the minus 12. So KSP is very less. KSP is basically an equilibrium constant. Equilibrium constant which suggests that if the equilibrium constant is very less, that means you get precipitate, otherwise it would ionize. More the equilibrium constant, greater would be the ionization. But if the KSP is less, ionization would be less. I mean, in effect, it would be precipitation. And therefore, when you titrate a mixture of calcium and magnesium together, and you add very small amount of hydroxide ions, immediately magnesium gets precipitated. But if you add slightly more, even calcium will get precipitated. But since we want to titrate calcium selectively in the presence of magnesium, we add very small amount of magnesium, hydroxide ion, so as to precipitate magnesium ion. If you if you are very critical in observation, when you do this titration, you will find your solution to be very slightly turbid during titration. It will not be as clear as it was without addition of NaOH or KOH. So this will give you an indication that the entire magnesium has precipitated. And the volume fixed 4 ml, 4 normal, I think few drops, that is enough to precipitate magnesium ions and not calcium ions. And when we say that if the ionic product increases, KSP is equal to the ionic products of the ions of the precipitate. So if the ionic product increases above KSP, it will precipitate. But having said that, lesser the KSP value, faster would be the precipitation. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that was it. And you gave a very good list of questions. And as far as, I'll just repeat, as far as examination is concerned, on 5th, this paper would be on 5th. Whatever I teach till today would be the part of the syllabus from which I'm going to ask in your practicals. Whatever I teach till today, right? If I teach something maybe after a few days, that will not be a part of your examination, internal examination, as on 5th. Of course, it would be part of your final examination, but not for internal examination. Okay. Now with this, I just move ahead. Now this is what we have with us. Total dissolved solids. This is again a very simple experiment. You please keep on, whenever you have time, you just go through those links, video links, and then you can see as many number of videos which are, I mean, there is a list of videos which are available on such practicals online. So you can it is not necessary that whatever I have given you, you go through that. You can have your own videos as well if you find. There are many other videos. Okay, total dissolved solids. इसका मतलब है कि ऐसे इतने solids हैं जो कि पानी में dissolved हैं. We want to find out that. In the given sample. अब इसके कुछ terms हैं जिसको हम बोलते हैं, इसको हम कहते हैं TDS, total dissolved solids. But yes, there are other terms which are known as total solids and total suspended solids. So there are 3 terms: total solids, total dissolved solids, and total suspended solids. We can find out total dissolved solids and total solids. And from the difference of these two, we can find out total suspended solids. Total solids में dissolved solids भी होंगे और suspended solids भी होंगे. तो जब हमें suspended solid निकालना है तो हम water sample लेंगे, उसको हम सबसे पहले क्या करेंगे, filter करेंगे. तो जितने भी suspended material है that will be eliminated. और जो भी liquid filter होगा उसमें हम निकालेंगे total dissolved solids. So the first step when you find out total dissolved solids, TDS, is you filter your sample to remove suspended solids. So I can ask you one MCQ here. What is the necessity to filter the sample to calculate total dissolved solids? So you can have 4 options for that. The correct option would be to remove suspended solids, right? So this is what is, I think, written Sir? Here. Yes.
एक वक्त क्वेश्चन रिपीट करो ना.
अच्छा ऐसा है. what is the necessity to remove? What is the necessity to filter the given sample for TDS determination? Lucky Lidu, लिख लिया?
Yes, sir.
Good, good. Your name?
Raj.
Raj. Okay, Raj. Good. So whatever I just discussed, I think it is written in the initial part of this under description. So you need to filter it, and that is what is important. And you express TDS in parts per million. Parts per million के बारे में हम पढ़ चुके हैं, हम जान चुके हैं. What is ppm? So that is, जैसे हमने जाना था माइक्रोग्राम्स पर ml या फिर मिलीग्राम्स पर 1000 ml, राइट? अब इसके अंदर जो प्रोसेस है वो ऐसा है. टेक 25 ml of filtered water sample in a previously weighed 100 ml beaker. Let that weight be W1. Evaporate to dryness on a sand bath. Allow to cool and weigh the beaker again. हमने क्या किया? पहले पानी डाल के वजन किया और उसके बाद पानी इवोपरेट करने के बाद हमने उसका वेट किया और उसके बाद डिफरेंस ऑफ वेट से हमने ये निकाला कि उसमें कितना सॉलिड है, कितना सॉलिड बच गया. बट दैट इज ऑफ फिल्टर्ड सैंपल. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंटली, इट शुड बी अ फिल्टर्ड सैंपल. और कॉन्सेंट्रेशन निकालने और अमाउंट निकालने का in terms of ppm, it is done using, now this is a very simple experiment, but what you need to understand is, and you at the same time you find this formula as well. This journal, please don't consider this journal to be ultimate in everything. There would be and there are few mistakes here and there everywhere. This is just for your guidance, for your reference. But if you come across anything which you feel is not correct, you can highlight or you can inform me. Just like in the previous lecture, somebody said that there is a problem in subtracting the values in different columns. So likewise, now this is very simple in the sense that आपने 25 ml लिया था, उसमें आपका कुछ वेट आ गया होगा, मतलब W2 minus W1, सपोज 5 mg आया, 5 मिलीग्राम्स. तो हमें मालूम है कि ppm हम अगर मिलीग्राम्स में निकालते हैं तो 1000 में कितना मिलीग्राम, दैट वुड बी द ppm. तो 25 ml में अगर 5 मिलीग्राम्स हमको सॉलिड मिलता है आफ्टर इवापोरेशन, राइट, तो फिर हमको 1000 ml में कितना मिलेगा? तो 25 में 5 मिलीग्राम्स, तो 1000 में कितना? So 5 into 1000 divided by 25 would give you the ppm directly. You can use the formula, I don't know what it is written here, but you can use it directly. 25 ml में 5 milligrams, तो 1000 ml में कितना milligrams? So that will be 5000 divided by 25. 5000 divided by 25 would be
200.
कितना होता है?
200.
200, sir.
200. So your TDS is 200 ppm. That is what you are supposed to find out. So as it is mentioned here, W2 minus W1 into 1000 divided by water sample. So it is one and the same. So you can do it whichever way you want. And that is how you are supposed to represent. So this is a very simple experiment. And I have just I've just seen one video in the morning to make you understand how this happens. This is a video. I'll just share that video. Maybe you must have seen that as well. I'll just share it. Yes, this is the video. If you can. Can you hear this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
1 minute. I don't know what I need to do here to make this work. Last time somebody told me you go for device setting. Okay, device setting. Somebody suggested something last time. What was that? I think it was Dhruv who asked me to do some changes here so that you can hear the voice of this video. Is anybody aware?
So there was some option to like include the system audio, but for some reason it wasn't working last time.
Okay, system audio. Hide device, health, meeting notes, meeting information, gallery, together mode, full screen, apply background effect, meeting information. No. One moment, another meeting notes, meeting options. Bypass the attendees. Allow mic for attendees. Allow camera for attendees. Allow reaction. Provide CRT captions. Smart captions. There was something. I think together focus large. Can you see this? Can you see this on my screen? I mean, what I need to press here? Which option? Dhruv. I suppose what I need to set here. If you can you see this? I mean.
सर आपकी YouTube की स्क्रीन दिखाई दे रही है, वो जो आप ऑप्शन बोल रहे हैं वो नहीं दिखाई दे रहा।
अच्छा, वो नहीं दिखाई दे रहा। Okay. What I need to do here, hide meeting options. I have done everything what I could. One moment. अच्छा, audio, include system audio in meetings update. Text. System audio. One moment. what else I can do here? What else? Audio. Somebody, one, just a minute. What was that? HTTP include. You said switch to sound settings, show device setting, and then audio devices. Okay. Device setting, audio devices. I cannot see what the audio, video settings, device settings, camera settings. Just a moment, just a moment. I'll just call somebody and I'll see if this can be fixed. 1 minute.
Hello, sir.
Meeting notes, meeting.
हेलो सर।
हाँ, यस
सर एक बार वॉल स्क्रीन प्रेजेंट के जो ऑप्शन आ रहा है ना उसमें वॉल स्क्रीन प्रेजेंट कर दीजिए और उसमें सिस्टम साउंड इंक्लूड करके एक बार ट्राई कीजिए सर।
मतलब जो वीडियो दिखा रहा था उसकी होल स्क्रीन। ओके।
नहीं सर, MS टीम में आप जब शेयर करते हैं ना स्क्रीन तब आपको पूछता है ना वो कौन सी टैब को आपको प्रेजेंट करना है, शेयर करना है, उसमें होल स्क्रीन दे दीजिए सर।
ओके, अच्छा। वन मोमेंट।
एंड सर तभी ना ऊपर आपको एक दिखाएगा कि यू आर प्रेजेंटिंग, राइट? और उसके मतलब ऊपर एक मेन्यू आएगा ऑन द टॉप ऑफ द स्क्रीन व्हेन यू आर प्रेजेंटिंग। वहां पे एक बॉक्स होगा, उसको आपको अनटिक करना है।
प्रेजेंटिंग का एक, ओके, अनटिक कर दिया। ओके, अच्छा ठीक है। नाउ आई विल जस्ट सी वेदर दिस वर्क्स। one moment here. Can you? अच्छा अभी एक मिनट वॉइस आता है, जस्ट बताना. Can you see the? No.
No,
No.
sir.
No.
No, sir.
Still no.
सर आप जब प्रेजेंट करते हो ना, तो
हाँ.
ऊपर जो टॉप स्क्रीन है ना, वहां पे एक मतलब शॉर्ट टाइप का एक मेन्यू आएगा लंबा सा.
अच्छा मैंने यस एक बार आया था, बट नाउ इट इज वेयर इट इज गॉन. यस इट हैड कम आई रिमेम्बर. इसमें
एक बार अनप्रेजेंट करके फिर से एक बार करिए प्रेजेंट, तो शायद वो आ जाएगा.
ओके 1 मिनट. हाँ प्रेजेंटर मोड इसमें लिखा है, और उसमें there are 4 options. So turn on your camera to select this layout, turn on your camera, select this layout, turn on presenter mode, screen, Microsoft content.
नहीं सर, वहां पे अब प्रेजेंट करके.
अच्छा हाँ हाँ, इंक्लूड
जी
कंप्यूटर साउंड लिखा है. ओके
यस वही.
यस सर, वही.
Okay, now I have included. Now I'll just maybe hopefully, if this is do I need to save it? Okay, I'll just start now.
Find out how many.
Can you hear?
TS?
Yes sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
I will show in the demonstration, but let me explain here. I will just have the sample of the water sample. It contain all 3, TDS and TSS, and TS total is means if you add TDS plus TSS. So that sample I will take it, and we just took 25 ml from this sample into 2 different beakers, and these beakers we already weigh. So we should know the mass of these 100 ml beaker, then transfer 25 ml of the total sample that contain TDS plus TSS. So we will analyze for TS, and another beaker we have 100 ml beaker, another sample 25 ml. This we will analyze for TDS, but both are TS now. So what is the difference here? This is for TDS, this is for TSS. TS, sorry, not TSS. TS, total solid. So now this I will filter it first. This 25 ml, that is TS, total solid, we filter it. So after one filtration, this sample we got it, that is TDS, and whatever residue left on the filter paper, that is supposed to be TSS. But TSS we will calculate by different method, but this is also one method for TSS. So now we collect this TDS, and now we collect this TS from here. It contains both TDS plus TSS, and we put all together on the water bath, TS and TDS, and after that, when the water is evaporated, then we will get the TS solid and TDS solid. And these things, calculation I will explain later on. Now first I will demonstrate you how to do all these experiments. So now we have this sample. This sample contains TSS and TDS. All right. This is very clear. And now from this sample, we have taken 25 ml. All right. This is 25 ml we collected this sample. And now this is in the 2 beakers. I will take it. And after that, we will have 2 beakers for TS and TDS. So I will take the mass of empty beaker on the balance, and the mass of empty beaker for TDS on the balance. Then we will take the mass. Then we transfer this 25 ml sample in TDS beaker and 25 ml sample in TS beaker. As I told you that this TS contain both TSS and TDS. But for TDS, we have one more step. What we do, this is not actually TDS, this is the TS now, but we have to filter it. When we have to filter it, we filter it now. I transfer into the funnel. All right, there is a filtrate there, the white color, the filter paper, and this sample is coming down. This sample is TDS. This is actually TDS because the TSS which is left over on the filter paper after filtration, right? Now this is the sample TDS and TS we have. This is all 25 ml. After this one, we just put it on the hot plate. When this water is evaporated, after that we will get the total dissolved solid here, and we will get the total solid. And these total solid contain both TSS and TDS. All right. So after evaporating this, we will get the solid. This is total solid, we get it after evaporation. And now we got it TDS after evaporation. Now we will take the final mass of TS and we write down in the report sheet, and also take the final mass of TDS, then we record into the report sheet. So in this way, we got the mass of TS and mass of TDS. Final simple calculation, the final weight of the beaker after heating. So we will take, suppose, total solid, final minus initial weight in gram. So the TS mass in gram divided by 25 ml, because we took 25 ml sample, multiply by 1000, because this is, we have to determine per liter, because the ppm is always, you know, the milligram per liter. ppm means milligram per liter. So that's why we have to determine the solids in ppm. So now this mass of the total solid divided by 25 ml and multiply by 1000. So we will get TS milligram per liter, that is ppm. The same method, same way, we can calculate the TDS, that is also milligram per liter ppm. Once you have the TS and you have TDS, then you can calculate TSS. The TSS, TS minus TDS. So now in this way, you determine TS, TDS and TSS. So this is all about the water solids which we determine experimentally, and you calculate the weight and everything is written on the report sheet, and you calculate accordingly. And also you can calculate percentage error, because for the percentage error calculation, right? We provide the actual value, actual mass of TS, TDS and TSS, right? So these actual mass, so you can calculate used into the formula, the actual minus experimental divided by actual multiply by 100. So in this way, the percentage error you will calculate of all solids. Now, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. All the best.
Okay, now you just saw the video, and I hope you must have followed a little bit, and few other things which I would like to highlight from this video. Any questions up till now? Then I'll be discussing few other things from this video.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, is there any answer responsible for TDS?
Is there क्या कहा? Is there any Any
Ions.
Any ions means all ions. Yes, all ions. All ions are responsible. 1 minute. Hello. Yes. अच्छा, अभी मैं मीटिंग लेक्चर में हूँ, ठीक है. मैं आफ्टरनून आफ्टर 2 o'clock. Okay. You said ions, right? Which one? It is all ions. It is anything which is dissolved. It could be even an organic impurity. It could be ions. It could be anything which is dissolved in water. So this TDS will comprise of anything which is soluble in water, which could be ions, which could be cations, anions, and even molecules. Okay. Any other question? Dhruv or anyone? Smith, Kiran?
No, sir.
Okay. Now few things which, as I said, there are 3 terms: TS, TSS, and TDS. TSS is total suspended solids, which you determine by filtration, and that means you subtract TDS from TS, and then you determine TSS. That is how you do it. In the end, they told you something about percentage error. Now this is an important aspect, but for that you should have the standard value. The standard value of TDS for that water sample. Say for example, if you are being given a water sample to analyze for TDS and to find out the error involved in your measurements, for that you need your standard value for TDS. If it is known, it is fine. If it is not known, in that case, what one can do is 6 people can do this experiment, find out the mean, consider that mean as your reference value, and with respect to that, find out the percentage error using that formula. So that is possible when you have the known value, the standards for that, right? So that was all about TDS and how one can, why do we do this, what information we get, and so on and so forth. Now the next practical, one moment, I'll just move on to the next one now, and that is, yes, and that is determination of chlorides by Moore's method. I suppose you have done this. This is a example of precipitation titration. This is all regarding finding out the ions which are present in water samples. Here it is required to determine the presence of chloride ions in water sample by Moore's method. Now, what is this Moore's method, or which is a precipitation titration? What one do in this experiment is you titrate your chloride ion present in your sample, of course in the dissolved form. It is not precipitated form. You add a standard solution of silver nitrate. Silver nitrate थी, अगर हम इसको titrate करते हैं, so one can find out the amount of chloride ion by precipitating silver chloride. And once you precipitate silver chloride, one can come to know what would be the amount of chloride ion using simple expression. Silver nitrate again is not a primary standard substance, and therefore you need to first standardize it with sodium chloride, standard solution of sodium chloride. So the first step would be to prepare silver nitrate solution, which is very simple. 1000 ml 1 molar AgNO3 is equivalent to the molecular mass of silver nitrate. And then accordingly, one can prepare 0.1 molar or normal solution of silver nitrate according to its weight. And then standardize this silver nitrate solution with sodium chloride. So you could be asked like, the standard substance used to standardize silver nitrate is, it could be, the answers could be any one out of the given 4 options. It could be, what are those options? The options can be zinc chloride, right? Then you have titanium chloride, vanadium chloride, and sodium chloride. So the answer would be sodium chloride. You keep on writing these and others, short questions, my MCQs, so that you can share it with me after this. I think Dhruv is writing and Saloni is also writing. So, and others also can write, no problem. So the first step is you prepare a standard solution of silver nitrate and then you standardize it with sodium chloride solution. And once you have standardized silver nitrate, you titrate the chloride ion present in your standard sample. The indicator used here is potassium chromate, K2CrO4. That is what is the indicator used. And the endpoint corresponds to brick red color, which is due to silver chromate, which is due to silver chromate. So this is what is written here, and at the same time there are few other precautions which needs to be considered when you do this experiment. This titration is essentially done under neutral conditions. What happens in an acidic solution, acidic medium, chromate ions form dichromates, right? And for weak acids, and when you have strong acids, it forms chromic acid. So you need conditions which are neutral to carry out this reaction or this titration successfully. Under mild acidic conditions, you have the conversion of chromate ion CrO4 into dichromate Cr2O7 ions. While under strong acid conditions, it gives rise to formation of chromic acid. And if the solution is alkaline, it gives precipitates of silver hydroxide. One thing is very clear, should be clear to everyone, that whenever you are titrating cations, the moment you take the pH under basic conditions, there are chances of precipitating that cation in the form of hydroxides. Every ion which you titrate has a particular pH of hydrolysis. Some may be precipitated at a lower pH and some may be precipitated at a higher pH in the alkaline medium, in the alkaline range. So in case of alkaline medium or alkaline samples, silver readily forms silver hydroxide and it precipitates. Once it precipitates, one cannot carry out the titration with silver or the titration of chloride ions with silver nitrate. So therefore, if it is slightly acidic, you add some small amount of base, and if the water sample is slightly alkaline, you add small amount of acid, so that the conditions, so that the pH of this solution is close to pH 7 under neutral conditions, and only under neutral conditions the best results would be obtained. Now, as far as experiment goes, take 25 ml of given water sample, जो पानी के sample में chloride निकालना है, add 10 ml of distilled water. Now, one should be very clear with this. When you add distilled water, that distilled water should be free from chloride ions. If it is not the case, if you're not sure, then of course you need to run a blank. That is important. So you take 25 ml of water sample, add 10 ml distilled water, add few drops of potassium chromate indicator, and then titrate with silver nitrate. Now, the most important precaution which needs to be taken when doing this experiment is you need to shake the solution constantly. During titration, you need to shake the solution constantly. Why you do this? Because when you have sodium chloride or chloride ions in your water sample, when you add silver nitrate, what will happen? The solution contains chromate ions as well, which is there from the indicator. So when you add silver nitrate, naturally silver nitrate will come in contact with the chloride ions. The silver will come in contact with chloride ions as well as chromate ions. The moment it reacts with chromate ions, it gives you brick red color. And we know that brick red color is the end point. So you need to constantly shake, because silver will react with chloride ion first. And once entire chloride ion is titrated, has reacted with silver ions, that means there is complete conversion of chloride into silver chloride with silver nitrate. Then any excess of silver nitrate added in that solution will react with chromate ions, to give brick red color. Since you have added indicator in the solution, your solution would be yellow in color when you add your indicator. The moment you add silver nitrate, it will immediately form silver chromate, and silver chromate, as I said, is brick red in color. So you need to shake so that silver doesn't react with chromate ions, but it should react with chloride ions to give white precipitate of silver chloride. So now that is why one needs to constantly shake so that silver leaves chromate ions and binds with or reacts with chloride ions till the entire chloride ion is reacted with silver nitrate. And once there is no chloride ion, even in spite of shaking, you will still get that red color. This indicates that you have reached the endpoint. So you have done this experiment, you have noted the reading. Now this experiment will always require a blank. Blank means you need to ascertain that whatever solution you have prepared or whatever water sample you have taken does not contain any chloride ion. And if at all there is, we need to perform a blank. Blank means without this 25 ml of water sample, without taking this, you directly take 10 ml distilled water, add few drops of chromate indicator and titrate with silver nitrate and see what you get, what volume you get. Note this reading as V2. Naturally, this will be very small. V2 would be very, very small value because there is as such, there is no chloride ion. So immediately you should get red color. Generally speaking, it takes about 0.1 or 0.2 ml of silver nitrate for blank titration. And this is how I think this is the calculation of it. First of all, you standardize silver nitrate with sodium chloride. Find out, it is a very simple reaction, simple calculation as well. And you find out the molarity of silver nitrate to be 0.0076, 0076 molar, whatever one has prepared. You can prepare even accurate ones. This is just for your reference. And then using a simple expression is 1000 ml 1 molar silver nitrate is equivalent to, or will react completely with 35.45 grams of chloride ions. Then you have V1 minus V2. V2 is your blank. V1 is your sample reading. So sample reading was here in this case it was 28.3 ml and blank was 0.5 ml. So you subtract this. So finally you have 27.8. Use this value. Use this value to calculate the chloride ions. So 27.8 into 0.01 into 35.45 divided by 1000. So this comes out to be 9.85 milligrams. Now this 9.85 milligrams is present in 25 ml. So how much in 1000? So this will give you the ppm of chloride ions which are present in your sample. Can you देखो ये लिखा 25 ml में 9.85 milligrams, तो 1000 ml में कितना? So 394 ppm is your concentration of chloride ions in the given sample. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes,
sir.
Okay. Saloni, you have anything to add or ask? Why we do this?
No, sir. It's clear.
It's clear, no? So the only precaution one needs to take here is one thing, that this experiment should be done under neutral conditions. This is so one can ask under what conditions one can titrate chloride ions with silver nitrate. Under what conditions chloride ions can be titrated with silver nitrate? So the options would be acidic, alkaline, neutral, and fourth could be at any pH. So the answer would be under neutral conditions. So this could also be a question which could be asked. Likely question.
सर
हाँ
हम डिस्टिल वाटर क्यों ऐड करते हैं?
अच्छा हाँ, अब जैसे ये अच्छा सवाल था. I missed out that point. At that point, you can add. See, it is whenever I ask students to do titrations, invariably you will find written in experiments that you add some water to it, 10 ml of water to it. I think when you also must have done, or when you must have read these practicals, even in undergraduation, they ask you to add some amount of water. The first question that comes to mind is, why do we need to add water? What does water do? What is the role of water here? I'll tell you one thing. See, all the experiments which are being which you do rather, or which are written in books, reference books, books on experiments, they work with very high concentration of, they work with 0.1. and above concentration. This is a high concentration. But when you work, we always ask you to prepare very low concentrations. Now you can see here, silver nitrate is approximately, not around 0.01 molar. Now under this dilution, there is what I say, there is no need to add water itself. Water is added to see, I mean, for there should be a distinct color change at the endpoint, just to facilitate observing the color change at the endpoint. At the endpoint, you add distilled water, but that is the case when you use concentrated solutions. Concentrated, I mean for titrations, 0.1 molar. But if you use 10 times less, like which is the case in this experiment, what I believe is there is no need to add. You without even adding water, you can do this experiment because you have very low concentrations. Okay, so this was, one moment, I'll just open this again and so I think there is an experiment for chloride ions as well. There is a video. I'll just show you that. I'll just share the screen now. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
सर वॉइस નથી આવતો.
વોઇસ નથી આવતી? One moment. I'll just put that again. Now can you hear?
Precipitation with the chloride.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you will get white PPT. Okay, then when all chloride ions are precipitated silver chloride, the excess drop of silver nitrate reacts with the chromate ions to form brick red color precipitation. Okay, So this silver chromate gives brick red color. Okay, that is the end point that shows the absence of chloride ions in the flask. I repeat. So if no chloride ions in the flask, the silver nitrate will react with the indicator, that is potassium chromate, then that forms silver chromate. That's brick red color. That is the end point.
Let's see the determination of chloride present in water by argentometric method. So what do we need for this experiment? Need the water which contains chloride ions, then indicator, it is potassium chromate, then standard AgNO3 solution. That one we are taking in the burette. Okay, let us start the experiment. Add around 2 to 3 drops of potassium chromate indicator. Then start hydrating with AgNO3 solution. What happens actually when you add the AgNO3 to the water contains the chloride ions, the AgNO3 will react with the chloride ions that forms silver chloride, right? We will get white PP. Let us see that. You can observe here the formation of white PT, that is AgC. Continue the reaction. What is the end point here? Absorb chloride ions. If chloride ions are there, then AgNO3 react with chloride ions, then forms AgCl. Again, we will get the white PP, right? So absence of chloride ion is the end point. In absence of chloride ions, whatever indicator we are using, that will react with AgNO3, then that forms silver chromate. Okay, that shows the absence of chloride ions. Okay. This brick red color we are getting shows the absence of chloride ions in the flask. So this is the end point. I repeat, in presence of chloride ions, that AgNO3 forms AgCl, that is white PPT. So in absence of chloride ions, then AgNO3 will react with the indicator, the potassium chromate, then that forms silver chromate, that is brick red color. That shows the absence of chloride ions, that is the end point. Okay. We have to repeat this titration 3 times and you have to take best value. Actually, you have to get at least concurrent readings. Best value for the calculation part. Okay, let us see the calculation part to determine the chloride by using this argentometric method.
Data recording and calculations. So first preparation of AgNO3 solution. Okay, you know that first you need to take the weight of bottle plus AgNO3, then empty bottle weight, then we'll get the weight of AgNO3. Then calculate the normality of AgNO3. Okay, using this equation. Why it is 10 here? Here, volume 1000 divided by volume. So volume we are preparing 100 ml. That's why it is 10. Okay, here we got 0.0225 normal. Okay. And these are the readings we got. So here initial reading for first trial is 0 and then final reading 9. Then AgNO3 rundown is 9 ml. Okay. For second trial we got 9.2. So these are the concurrent readings. So let us take 9 ml for the calculation part. Okay. You have to determine the normality of chloride ion in the solution using this equation, and then concentration of chloride in the given sample of water for 1 liter in ppm. Okay, we got 798.75 ppm. In exam, all of you will get different concentration of AgNO3. Means all of you will get different weight of AgNO3. So then concentration of AgNO3 will change. Then amount of AgNO3 rundown to get the endpoint will change for every student. Okay. So because concentration is varies, right? Concentration is varying. That's why volume consumed for the endpoint will change in the exam for all the students. If any confusion, just mail us. Thank you.
कि आज की इस वीडियो में एक नई प्रोडक्ट इंट्रोड्यूस करते जा रहे हैं। ये मैक्सिमस की डबल टेप है, ट्रांसपेरेंट सिलिकॉन के अंदर, और ये मैजिकल प्रोडक्ट। लेकिन
Yes. Any questions? There was a slight difference in the calculation. They have not shown the blank. Yes, please.
આપણે જે આ ડિટર્મિનેશન ઓફ ક્લોરાઇડ આયન બાય મોર્સ મેથડ છે ને આપણે આર્જેન્ટોમેટ્રિક મેથડ પણ કહી શકીએ ને?
કહી શકીએ. કરેક્ટ.
ઓકે સર.
અને એમાં એક જુદું હતું કે इन्होंने ब्लैंक नहीं लिया, ब्लैंक आपको दिखाया नहीं. Blank is always suggested. It is always suggested because chloride can come from any solution. Say for example, you prepared chromate ions indicator. Obviously, you are going to use water. So if chloride is present in that sample also, that also should be removed. That also should be estimated. So it is always advisable to carry out a blank, जैसे मैंने आपको भी बताया, जर्नल में लिखा था, and then subtract that value from the actual value. This is important. This is really important, but that was not shown here. But the calculation is very simple, as I showed in the journal, and you can go through it. But the most important thing is that it should not be done. It should be done under neutral conditions. At the same time, it should be done with vigorous stirring, shaking of your solution, so that silver chromate should not form initially, and if it is formed, it should be displaced, so that first silver chloride is formed, and then excess of silver nitrate addition would result in brick red color of silver chromate. अब जैसे पूछा जाएगा the brick color red is because of, तो हम आंसर लिखा होगा AgCl, Ag silver nitrate, silver chromate, silver dichromate. So the answer would be silver chromate. The red color is because of this. Those are the possible questions. You can also prepare other questions as well. Okay, is it fine?
Sir.
हाँ, पूछो.
Could you please repeat the explanation about blank?
Blank. Okay. And your name?
Mansi.
Okay. देखो blank जब हम करते हैं तो blank हम क्यों करते हैं? That is important. Why do we do blank experiment? See, blank experiment is done to eliminate any chloride ion present in any solution other than your sample. देखो हम पानी के अंदर क्लोराइड आयन डिटरमाइन कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हर चीज हमने सॉल्यूशन पानी में ही बनाया है. एवरीथिंग इज प्रिपेयर्ड इन वाटर. सो वो जो भी पानी में बनाया है उसमें तो क्लोराइड नहीं है, वो तो हम एलिमिनेट करेंगे. इफ यू वांट टू फाइंड आउट द अमाउंट ऑफ क्लोराइड आयन प्रेजेंट इन आवर सैंपल, इन आवर टेस्ट सैंपल. सो to estimate any chloride ion present in any solution in this titration, we need to determine the blank. जिसमें सिल्वर नाइट्रेट आप बनाते हो उसमें भी तो हो सकता है क्लोराइड हो, किसी में भी क्लोराइड, थोड़ा सा भी क्लोराइड हो. So that will all come into, तो हमेशा हमारी रीडिंग ज्यादा आएगी, जिससे है उससे ज्यादा आ जाएगी. इसीलिए एक ब्लैंक लिया जाता है जो कि एलिमिनेट कर देता है ये जो भी एक्सेस क्लोराइड आयन फ्रॉम एनी सॉल्यूशन व्हिच इज यूज्ड ड्यूरिंग टाइट्रेशन. सो दैट इज द सिंपल स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड आंसर टू योर क्वेश्चन, मानसी. इज इट क्लियर?
यस सर.
ओके
सर.
हाँ पूछो.
व्हाट इज प्रिंसिपल ऑफ मोर्स मेथड?
हाँ तुम बताओ, ये तो तुम बताओ. एंड तुम्हारा नाम क्या है वो बताओ.
सर ध्रुवी.
हाँ ध्रुवी. यस. व्हाट इज द प्रिंसिपल? नाउ आई एम आस्किंग यू, व्हाट इज द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ? अभी आपने पूरा प्रैक्टिकल समझ लिया है So now you can tell me what is it. One moment. Hello. अरे मेरा लेक्चर चल रहा है यार, मेरा ये ऑनलाइन का. हाँ, yes.
Sir, chloride ion concentration.
There is one question in the chat box. Determination of chloride ion in water or solution. The Mehul, it is Mehul. See, it is in water sample. It is in water sample. There is no thing like solution. It is water sample, aqueous sample, unknown sample. That is what it is. Okay, Mansi, you were answering that. What is the principle? Anybody else also can answer. Saloni, if Mansi, yes, can you repeat? Mansi?
Yes, sir. I was not answering that.
You are not answering. Now you can answer.
Sir, it determines the chloride ion concentration of an aqueous solution with the help of silver nitrate.
Okay. The principle is actually the process of precipitation. That is the principle. Principle of this experiment would be to determine chloride ions in any sample, aqueous sample, by precipitation of silver chloride, and thereby estimating the amount of chloride ion in the given sample. So precipitation is actually the process by which you determine the chloride ion in the given aqueous sample. Okay, now the third thing which we have here is this is the other ion, that is sulfate ion, is also present in water sample. Now sulfate, now this is, you will find sulfate ions in sample. This again is a precipitation titration. This is another example of precipitation titration, but it is an indirect titration, indirect determination. That previously it was direct determination. This is indirect determination or back titration, but the process is precipitation. डिस्क्रिप्शन में ऐसा लिखा है कि सल्फेट आयन जब पानी में होते हैं तो उसको हम सबसे पहले क्या करते हैं, कोई एक ऐसा रिएजेंट डाल देते हैं जो कि सल्फेट को प्रेसिपिटेट कर दे, और वो सब्सटेंस हम एक्सेस में डालते हैं, ज्यादा डालते हैं, और जो भी एक्सेस में बच जाता है उसको हम डिटरमाइन करते हैं बाय बैक टाइट्रेशन विद EDTA या विद स्टैंडर्ड सॉल्यूशन ऑफ, नाउ इन दिस केस हम EDTA से भी कर सकते हैं, लेकिन इन दिस केस, इन दिस एग्जांपल they have used sulfuric acid is the solution for titrating the excess reagent. अब इसमें होता क्या है, पानी सैंपल है जिसमें सल्फेट आयंस है, तो हम इसमें क्या डालते हैं, एक्सेस अमाउंट ऑफ बेरियम क्लोराइड. हमें मालूम है बेरियम सल्फेट एक इनसॉल्युबल प्रेसिपिटेट बनाता है सल्फेट का. बेरियम सल्फेट इज वाटर इनसॉल्युबल, और बेरियम को हम एक्सेस में डाल देते हैं, बेरियम क्लोराइड को हम एक्सेस में डाल देते हैं. एक्सेस में डालने से क्या होगा, कुछ बेरियम क्लोराइड बच जाएगा इन सॉल्यूशन एज सच अनरिएक्टेड. जो चीज ऐसी बच जाती है अनरिएक्टेड, फिर हम क्या करते हैं, उसको हम बैक टाइट्रेट करते हैं कि कितनी बच गई, क्योंकि वी नो हाउ मच वी हैव एडेड. सो बैक टाइट्रेशन से क्या होगा, अगर हम सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड से टाइट्रेट कर लेते हैं, तो इस एग्जांपल में हमने बेरियम डाला है, ठीक है, तो जितना बेरियम एक्सेस होगा इट विल बी टाइट्रेटेड विथ सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड. अब इसका टाइट्रेशन में हम EDTA भी ले सकते हैं, बिकॉज बेरियम EDTA ऑल्सो is titrant which could be used to determine barium ion. But in this case, in this experiment, in this journal, it is mentioned the excess BaCl2 is titrated with standard sulfuric acid solution using sodium rhodizonate as indicator. So this is a specific thing. Sodium rhodizonate we don't use for EDTA titration. It is used for acid-base titrations or precipitation titrations. Now in this process, the whole procedure is take 10 ml of say given water sample, and then you add ammonium chloride, and then excess of barium chloride. So what happens here is, for complete reaction you add ammonium chloride, and barium chloride will precipitate sulfate ions in solution. The moment you do this, you will start to see precipitates in your sample. This will give you an indication that yes, barium sulfate is formed. So it will, when you add excess, so it will completely precipitate sulfate ions. But at the same time, there will be some excess amount of barium chloride which remains in solution as barium chloride, which we will titrate. And then doing a blank without water sample, which will obviously be large value of volume. So by difference, we can come to know the amount of barium which is used to precipitate sulfate ions. अब इस प्रोसेस में क्या किया, सबसे पहले हमने बेरियम सल्फेट को प्रेसिपिटेट कर लिया, उसके बाद 2-3 ड्रॉप्स हमने इंडिकेटर डाल दिया, और उसके बाद 5 ml ऑफ मिथेनॉल डाल दिया. अब मिथेनॉल डालने का रीजन ये है कि बेरियम सल्फेट एज सच इट इज नॉट soluble, but to minimize any chances of solubility of barium sulfate once formed, you add methanol to minimize the solubility of barium sulfate form. And then you maintain a solution which is slightly acidic in nature, so that this titration could be facilitated. As such, you are going to add acid to it. So you keep a solution which is slightly acidic and then titrate with 0.01 normal sulfuric acid solution. The color change at the end point would be from cherry red, which is that of sodium rhodizonate, and then it will become colorless in presence of excess sulfuric acid. Just a minute. Hello. हाँ, नमस्कार सर.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry for the interruption here. I had an important call from university and therefore I was on the call. Okay, so the thing is, now I was talking about this determination of sulfate in water sample, in aqueous samples. The first thing is that you precipitate sulfate in the form of barium sulfate by adding excess amount of barium chloride and then titrating the remaining barium chloride with sulfuric acid using sodium rhodizonate as indicator. We add methanol in this to minimize solubility of barium sulfate once it is formed, and the excess amount is. At the same time, we always do a blank. Blank is because we want to know how much has been consumed by the sulfate ions and how much of barium is still remaining. So we need to do a blank. And this is how the titration goes. This is the titration. This is the general expression. 1000 ml 1 normal sulfuric acid is equal to 96.06 grams of sulfate ions. So the difference in the volume of the two, that means the blank, which would be a large value, minus the V1, which is the experimental value. The difference will give you the grams, the ml, which is required to react with the sulfate ions present in solution. So if your V2 is 17.3 and your V1 is 13.5, this is what was obtained experimentally. The difference is 3.8. So you substitute this volume here. V2 minus V1 would be 3.8 into 0.01, 96.06 divided by 1000. You get this many milligrams. Now this was there present in 10 ml. So how much in 1000? So which is the way in which we did for chloride ions. So this comes out to be 365 ppm. So this is how, this is on similar lines to that of the only difference between determination of chloride ions and sulfate ions is Sulfate ions are determined directly by a precipitation titration. Here, sulfate ions are determined, chloride ions are determined directly. Sulfate ions are determined indirectly, again by a precipitation method, where a known excess of barium chloride is added, and the remaining excess of barium chloride is titrated with sulfuric acid using sodium rhodizonate as indicator. So this is again a very simple experiment. I did not find any video for this, but if you find, I mean, that will be okay. You can refer, you can go through that, but it is on the similar lines. It is on the similar lines as the previous experiment. The condition is that you need to add excess of barium chloride so that you have some amount of barium which could react with sulfuric acid, which you use as a back titrate. Okay, any questions? The experiment, the titration is simple. The color change is from cherry red to colorless. So I can ask you anything out of, I mean, the color change at the endpoint for in sulfate determination is the color point at the endpoint. So I can ask you, I can write the following options: yellow color, cherry red, colorless, or pink. So your answer would be colorless. At the endpoint, the color is, you don't get any color. Prior to that, it is cherry red in color. So these are the three experiments which I wanted to share today. Yes, now you can ask me anything. Yes.
So I'm asking, like previous experiment, it was a necessity to shake constantly. Here, what are the precautions that should be taken?
Here precautions. Here precautions. I mean, first of all, you don't need to shake, because what has happened is you have allowed the precipitation to occur before titration. Even before starting the titration, you have precipitated your analyte. This is the difference. There, your analyte was being constantly titrated. It was a direct titration. Here it is a back titration, where the analyte is precipitated before the titration begins. First thing. Second thing, to minimize solubility of the precipitate, which is barium sulfate, you add small amount of methanol to prevent its solubility back into the solution. You don't want sulfate once precipitated to come back, because as such you are titrating with sulfuric acid, which contains sulfate ions. So the analyte sulfate ions should not come back to the solution. To ensure that, you add methanol. So it doesn't allow, basically it covers the precipitate, and it doesn't allow its dissolution in this process. And therefore, what you titrate is, you titrate only the excess barium, and that too with sulfuric acid as that titrate. So you again get barium precipitate. So you have precipitate already formed, and during titration also, when you titrate excess of barium chloride with sulfuric acid, you will still have precipitate of barium sulfate. You will still have precipitates of barium sulfate during that titration. But that is not in your analyte. Yes, Saloni, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can frame questions based on your understanding. You have this journal with you, so you can prepare another 10-15 questions. You did well last time. So I have enough questions to ask. So only up till these six practicals: calibration, then standardization, determination of calcium, magnesium, TDS, chloride and sulfate will be the part of your examination on 5th February 2022. as far as analytical chemistry is concerned. So this will be your syllabus, and I'm going to ask from these 6 only, and I hope few of you can submit a list of questions, and then you can share also. I have no problems with that for the benefit of others, and I'm going to just go through that and see what can be asked. और दूसरी चीज ये है कि just for your information, all of you, the thing is see, very soon we will be having our final exams as well, so that please bear in mind that the month of February would be the month in which you will be answering your theory as well as practicals, most probably. External I'm talking. So in between, whenever we have time or practicals, we will be taking up those remaining practicals. But you be prepared for theory examinations as well as practicals in the month of February, I presume after 10th or 15th. But that is how things will move, because we are supposed to submit your results as early as first week of March. So better be prepared and don't wait, because it might so happen that you will be given only 4 or 5 days notice before the examination. So better be prepared with theory as well as practical. Any questions? And if you are free, I mean, those who are between roll number 19 to 36, those who have not given their, the presentation, seminar, etc., can do so at 4 o'clock if you are free. This is just for those students who are with me, who are prepared, so that at least we can